Okay, so we all know AI runs on data, right? But what if I told you the way we get that data is completely broken? Today, we're going to look at a totally new way of thinking about this, a model that turns expert knowledge from a simple one-time purchase into something way more valuable, an asset that actually pays you back over time. All right, let's get into it. So what's the big problem here? Well, think about it. The most powerful AI models, the ones changing our world, they need the best of the best data. Stuff that's been checked and double-checked by real experts. But the system we have for getting that data, well, it's starting to show some serious cracks. You've got this massive growing demand from AI and a supply chain that just, well, it wasn't built for this. And what do I mean by cracks? Well, for starters, experts get paid once. That's it, a one-time fee. So where's the incentive to make sure that data is good for the long haul? There isn't one. And that creates these huge bottlenecks, right? It chokes the supply of really top-notch knowledge. The whole system is basically set up to reward speed over quality. Get it done, get paid, move on. That's not how you build a lasting resource for AI. Okay, but what if we just flipped the entire script? This is where a new idea for a data economy comes in. It's called Codatta, and the proposal is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. What if we stopped treating expert data like a cost and started treating it like an asset? And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? The old way is pretty clear. Data is a cost. You pay for it once, and then it gets locked away in some silo. But the Codatta way? It's totally different. Data is now an asset. It actually generates ongoing royalties for the people who created it. And it's not siloed anymore. It becomes this shared resource that's managed super transparently on-chain, on a public, unchangeable digital ledger. Just that one little change in how we think about it, it has absolutely massive implications. Okay, so that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? Let's dig into the mechanics. It's like Codatta is writing a whole new rulebook for data. All right, rule number one in this new playbook, fix the incentives. It's the core of the problem, right? So how do you get experts to give you their absolute best work? Simple. You make it worth their while. You make sure their contributions actually grow in value over time.
And the engine that drives this whole thing, it's on-chain royalties. So forget that old flat fee model. Now, when an expert puts in verified data, they get a real stake in its future. Think about that. Every single time that piece of data is used to help a successful AI model, boom, that expert earns a royalty. All of a sudden, the game changes. The incentive isn't just about getting paid once, it's about creating something that has real, lasting value.
Okay, so the experts are happy. They're properly incentivized now. That's one side of the coin. But what about the other side? The AI builders, the folks who actually need to use this data. Well, that's where the second big idea comes in, and it's all about making access super, super easy. They call it train, now, pay, later. And it's brilliant. It completely gets rid of that huge upfront cost that developers hate. They can get their hands on all this premium data, use it to build their models, and they only start paying royalties when, and only when, their AI is actually out in the world, being successful and making money. It's a perfect link between payment and real-world value. It just makes sense. And when you look at all this, the royalties, the pay-later model, it's easy to just see it as clever economics. But it's so much more than that. It's all designed around one central goal: to attract and to fairly reward the actual human experts. The people whose knowledge is the fuel for this whole engine. So how do you attract the best of the best? Well, you treat them like professionals. You respect them. The system lets experts use the credentials they already have to prove their skills. It creates this public, verifiable track record, so everyone can see the value of their contributions. And it gives them curated workflows and tools to make the whole process as smooth as possible.
Okay, now for a really, really important point. None of this works, not a single bit of it, if you can't trust the data. A system built on royalties is only as good as its assets. It's just common sense. And that's why verification isn't just some nice-to-have feature. No, it is the absolute bedrock, the foundation of this entire ecosystem.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. Verification is the gate. Things like staking your own money or building a reputation score, they don't replace quality assurance, they power it. They're the tools that finance it, prioritize it, and enforce it. It creates a system where everyone has real skin in the game, which means everyone has a reason to push for the highest possible quality.
And trust me, this process is no joke. It's like a multi-layered gauntlet that the data has to run through. Step 1, every single submission has to come with evidence. Step 2, it gets reviewed by other experts in the same field.
Step 3, it's got to pass a tough audit by the top experts. And here's the kicker. It doesn't even stop there. The data is constantly re-verified even after it's being used, just to make sure it's still accurate and relevant. This is how you build a foundation of trust that is just unshakable.
So, let's put it all together. You've got these royalties for the experts, you've got this super easy access for the builders, and you've got this ironclad verification process. When you mix all that together, you get to the ultimate payoff. And it's huge. It's a fundamental redefinition of what data even is.
This really is the whole point. We're turning data from, a cost center, like a piggy bank you smash open once, into a compounding asset, something that grows. For the contributors, it means a real ongoing source of revenue. And for the AI developers, they get a library of reliable knowledge that doesn't just sit there, it actually gets better and more valuable over time.
And this is what it looks like when the rubber hits the road. You've got a system that automatically prices ownership fairly. It makes sure that revenue flows right back to the people who created the value in the first place, the experts. And maybe most importantly, it rewards people not just for dropping data into the system, but for the ongoing work of curating it and keeping it top-notch.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. What actually happens when the world's collective knowledge, from scientists, coders, artists, you name it, stops being treated like a one-off commodity? What happens when it starts earning royalties based on the real impact it has in the world? It's a pretty massive idea, right? And it really could change, well, just about everything. Thanks for tuning in.